in my hand here, I have the 2019 Guinness Book of World Records. I'm not actually in this edition, nor am I in any edition, unfortunately. However, hopefully I can still use this to impress you. Here we go. Let me try that again. It's slightly embarrassing. There we go, that's much better. You know, when I learned this trick, many people told me this was an utterly useless trick. But, you're laughing. But I actually found it a really great icebreaker for opening up a TED Talk. So, this is my TED Talk. And this skill took me 9 hours and 9 minutes to learn. Exactly. How do I know exactly how long it took me to learn this seemingly pointless skill? Well, I actually set up a camera, pushed record, and recorded every moment I spent practicing this skill. And that's how I was able to quote the time. Let's see, I have some footage here of my early... I was learning, I got slightly better, and then I got really good. You get the gist. This is actually what I do. I make videos documenting my process of learning skills from scratch. This is my job. It is a real job, I assure you. It is my job. I make these YouTube videos. I record every moment of my learning process. So each month I choose a skill at random from complete scratch that I've never attempted before, and I just begin learning that skill, recording every single second of it. And I edit the video down to 5, 10, 15-minute video and upload it to my YouTube channel. I've been doing this for 3.5 years. And during that time, the channel has grown substantially, now amassing over 1.5 million subscribers on YouTube. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about how this all began. So, I was studying for my master's degree in engineering, and I was writing my thesis at the time. I'm sure some of you have either done this or are going to do this very shortly, and it was an agonizing process. I was sick and tired of making no progress with my research, with calculations, with errors, and I needed an escape. I needed a creative, active, outdoors escape from the monotony of thesis writing. So, this is what happened. There was a show on television, and they were talking about on this show the 10,000 hour rule. I'm not sure if any of you have heard of this, but it's a common phrase that's chucked around, and what it basically states is that it is estimated it takes 10,000 hours of deliberate, dedicated practice to become truly world-class at any particular skill. And what interested me about this way of quoting time wasn't the magnitude of the time, it was how it was, the units of measurement, how granular it was. It wasn't quoted in years or months or weeks or days, it was quoted in hours. And this was so much more tangible to me. An hour is something I could wrap my head around. An hour is something I could do. I have done an hour of practice. And so I thought about this idea, and it crept into my head a little bit. I thought, 10,000 hours seems like a bloody long time. 1,000 hours, well, that's better. 100 hours is still too much. What can you learn in something like 10 hours? And this is where the idea hatched from. So I came up with this idea. I would copy this idea where 10,000 hours of practice, but I'd shrink it down to 10 hours. So I needed a skill. So I chose one at random, something I've always wanted to do. And that skill was skateboarding. I chose skateboarding. I set myself a milestone, and the milestone was the simplest skateboarding trick there is. That's a kickflip. Maybe not the simplest, but the second most simple trick. And what I did was I just set up my camera on a tripod, push record, and just started practicing. And progress was admittedly quite slow. Eventually, I nailed this trick. I got it down, I was able to do it, I was able to land what I set out to do. So I took all the footage and I spent time going through it, looking at what the progress I was making, and I decided to edit a little video down. But first I added up the duration of each clip that I shot, which gave me the total practice time. And I was amazed to find that I'd achieved this trick in less than 6 hours. Under 6 hours. So what I did with all the footage was I edited it all together, made a little cute YouTube video, and uploaded it to the platform. And this idea, this seemed to resonate with people, the concept of a guy learning something in X amount of hours. Average man learns skateboarding in 5 hours and 47 minutes. This resonated with people. People liked this idea. So I decided to do more of this thing. I did some unicycling, then I went on to the Rubik's Cube, before moving on to juggling, and then learning to wheelie, spinning a basketball. And 3 and a bit years later, I have learned 50 novel skills from scratch, all of which the stories are documented on my YouTube channel. I'm often asked, how did you learn all these things? How do you turn your hand to so many different things? How do you learn so quickly? How did you learn to solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded? Or how did you learn how to break a wine glass using only your voice? The fact that people ask me these questions, the fact that I get these questions of how did you manage this, provides more insight to the general public's perception of learning in adulthood. This is good for me. People tend to think that I am special, and this is good for a career on YouTube. I don't want competition on the platform. I want it all to myself. It makes my life a little bit easier. If people think I'm special, maybe they won't try it. But here today, I'm going to be candid with you and tell you that I am actually an extremely regular person. There is one key and very simple difference between me, who can do 50 of these skills, and you, who perhaps can't do any of them. Let me explain. My job, my strange job, which is a job, forces me to learn new skills. It forces me to do it, just in the same way that many other jobs force you to send that horrible email. To keep the lights on, I need to learn something new. That's my thing, that's my shtick. It is the best job in the world. I have all the freedom, but there is a pressure to get stuff done, as with all jobs. And I really wanted this career to work for me when I started out with YouTube. I really wanted to make a go of this, so I was quite keen. And this slight push to learn and record a video and complete the challenge has had an interesting consequence to my mindset, and I want to talk to you about that. It removes any hesitation that I might have had before I started learning. I don't have time to worry about how much I am going to suck at skiing, or how agonizing learning JavaScript will be, or how painful jumping in the cold water every morning will be when learning to acclimatize to cold water. I just don't have time to worry about that sort of thing. I just have to start, and that's because it's my job. There's a pressure to go. Before this unusual set of circumstances that created this strange pressure, I had in my head the same 3 thoughts that I feel that most people have prior to starting something new, learning something new. And that is that learning is unpleasant, learning is difficult if you have no talent for that particular skill, and learning takes an enormously long time. These thoughts that crept into my head would invariably prevent me from starting something new. Time and time again, I would come up with an idea, these thoughts would pop into my head, and I would just quit there and then before I'd even tried. And looking back on this, this is crazy. This is crazy talk. But I think that a lot of people experience this sort of pressure prior to starting something new. Why do we think like this? Why is our default position to assume that we cannot learn something new? I think that we're conditioned to think like this. We live in a society of specialists, highly skilled people who have honed their skills in their particular field to become experts in that field. This is a good thing. I'm not hating on this model. I want my brain surgeon to be good at brain surgery. I want them to have practiced. I want the plumber repairing the pipes to be really, really good at repairing pipes. I want the air traffic controllers to be really good at controlling planes. I hope the politicians that are in Brussels now are going to sort out this mess with Brexit by being focused on this problem. I want people to be specialists. I remember this process of forming a specialism when I was young. At school, I was promptly placed in the good group for maths, the middle group for literature, and the bottom group for stuff like sports and creative writing and art. And so I lived my life believing that I was a maths guy who was okay at writing but sucked at sports and art. And I focused my efforts on studying things that I was good at. And everyone around me supported this idea of a specialist in numbers, going on to study maths and science, then furthering his education at university by studying mechanical engineering, and then entering the engineering industry when I was in my 20s, which I still am, by the way. And everyone around me supported this idea that you do what you're good at. The downside of this model, for me, it has many upsides, but the downside of this model, for me, was that it cultivated a certain mindset. If I was a maths guy, that meant I couldn't be a creative guy. I remember saying things like, I can't learn French. I have no capacity to learn French because I've used all my points up on maths. I genuinely believed that there was archetypal people in the world like an RPG video game where you assigned stats and chose your character. This is what I actually believed. I can be very good at certain things at the expense of others. I've devoted all my XP points to the technical skills, so subsequently I suck at poetry, writing, and sports. It was a compromise that I chose to make to become an engineer, and I had to live with that. So my thinking was that when learning something outside of my specialism, outside of maths and engineering, that it would be unpleasant, that if I would have no talent for that thing, therefore it would be very, very difficult for me to pick it up, and it would take a horribly long time to do so. But then this YouTube thing happened, right? And I was forced to change. I was forced to change how I thought about learning and picking up new skills. I was forced to have a quick turnaround of content, to try lots of different things. That's the whole point of my channel. That's what I do. And I really, really wanted this to work. So I invested effort into trying different things. This meant learning things without the hesitation that I might have had earlier on, jumping straight into the deep end. I had to bypass my usual train of thought of, I can't do this because I'm good at this, or I was never good at this, so there's no point trying. It was out of necessity. I couldn't afford to worry about it. I was too busy scurrying around trying to get my career off the ground. And what I found was, this works. It works. This method of just simply ignoring those 3 thoughts that you might feel before embarking on a new project when it comes to learning, ignoring them works. It's a new mindset. When I started doing this, I forgot about what I could and could not do, trying out things that I thought I would be interested in, rather than trying things that I would be naturally good at. And I was amazed at what I found. Learning doesn't suck. I can be good or I can be okay at a bunch of different things. And learning, or at least getting to a reasonable skill level, doesn't take that long. I've never sang a note in my life, but when I was able to smash that wine glass with my voice for the first time, I was amazed that I was able to do that. I'm not supposed to be able to do that. I'm not a music guy. I never got my 50-meter badge at swimming lessons at school, but at 28 years old, within 6 months, I taught myself to swim, and then I proceeded to cross a mile-wide stretch of freezing cold river in Scotland, battling wind, waves, and currents. I discovered I was okay at a bunch of things. I could learn to edit, I could learn to shoot video, I could set up lights, I could run this business. The preconception of what I could and could not do was a myth. The XP points thing was a load of garbage. The byproduct of a highly specialized society is these thoughts telling you that you can't learn to speak French because you studied astrophysics, or that you can't write poetry because you can write JavaScript. These thoughts limit you enormously. The simple act of changing your mindset, however you want to do that. For me, I created a scenario where it was necessary for me to change my mindset. However you want to do it, Try it out. This is my call to action. You will be amazed at the horizon that opens up for you and the years of new skill learning that you can do and hobbies that you can explore. Specialism is something that humans fabricated. Our hardware, our brains are designed to be all-rounders. So, choose a skill that you've always wanted to learn and do not allow yourself to hesitate. Jump straight in to the deep end. Start as soon as you can. Try to avoid those 3 common thoughts that tend to creep into the back of people's mind that prevent them from starting and make them throw in the towel before they've even begun. Test my theory. I believe it can have a substantial impact on your life just by trying this simple mindset, and it has really worked for me and opened up a whole new range of possibilities, including this one today. Thank you.